Yo guys, here I am back at it again in this like lovely scenic environment. Always love making videos near this hillside area, stuff like that. Yo guys, the topic of this video guys is going to be about the fact that there is no escape, so to speak. That's like the topic of this video. Maybe I gotta push myself a little bit back so you can see my face a little bit better. I always make the camera a little bit too close up on my face. The topic of this video guys is going to be about the fact that there's like no escape or whatever. There's like no escape. What do I mean by this? There's literally like this is like very hard to understand. Basically, a lot of us human beings, we always try and escape away from basically modernity or maybe our society. We always try and find ways to escape and become more like self-dependent, self-sufficient and whatever. It's kind of like that's something that a lot of us, we want to get on to doing. We want to basically escape and whatever. See the cars in the back, man. Gotta get the lighting on the face properly, man. Hopefully I'm not mumbling with my words. Oh nah, it's not enough light. That looks a lot much more scenic. Anyway, the topic of this video guys is going to be about the fact that there is like no escape. A lot of us, we always tend to live like we want to like basically escape away. A lot of us, we always want to find some type of escape basically from like modernity, society and all that type of stuff. I do think that a lot of us have this type of mindset that we want to basically break free from the shackles of our society, and we want to become totally free and independent and all that type of stuff. You want to live on your own, do things according to your own will. You want to escape away from like this sort of like the cage of society and etc and stuff like that. You want to find a way to escape away from like the cage of society. But it's actually, guys, I'm here to tell you guys, it's not as easy as it seems. I honestly do think that there is like no escaping like away from honestly, I do think that there's like no like escaping away from society and all that type of stuff. I think it's like you just have to kind of live with it and deal with it and all that. I don't think there's any type of way you can actually completely escape away from the shackles of society. I think it's like we're always doomed, I guess. I think so, especially now. I think that's always going to be the case, guys, that you're always going to be having to kind of like depend on other people, depend on society to live a decent life. I think so. I think if you completely like try and escape, because a lot of us, we do want to have like this type of feeling of like freedom, independence, being on our own. We want to escape away from society and modernity and all that type of stuff. I don't think that's very I think that's not really possible, guys. I 100% think so. That it's just where we're forced to like I think so that we're just forced to basically exist in a society, and we have to we're forced to depend on other people. I think so, guys. A lot of us, again, we want to like basically escape away. You want to find some type of escape from the 9 to 5, from the rat race, from like society in general. You want to like find a way. Maybe a lot of us, we want to go to other countries and whatever. We want to live away from basically like society in general. We want to like kind of find a way out of society. But the issue with this is, guys, if you try and like escape, like the reason there's like no escape from society is because unless you want to like, the only like way you can possibly run away from society is if you decide to go and become a hunter-gatherer in Africa. That's like when you can probably be completely dependent on your own. Although you would have to still like hunt animals, you would still have to depend on other things, but you don't need to really depend on human beings. But your standard of living would be so drastically reduced. It would be so low. That's why societies are so important, because in order to have like a high standard of living, to have advanced technology, to have like all these like sophisticated things that we have now, like cars and whatever, and like food that's like very quality and top notch, and like all these like things, cars especially. In order to have all of these advanced things, you require like a society to produce these things for you, right? That's why honestly a lot of us, we do have these like types of ambitions to like move away, run away, escape away from society, from the 9-to-5 rat race, to live on our own, to be more self-dependent and etc., and whatever you want to call it. There's nothing wrong with having these types of ambitions and desires and dreams. The issue is, guys, that it's a lot harder than you would like to think, because honestly I think that a lot of us, I think without civilization and society, I think that us human beings, we would just be merely living in our own, we would be living in mud huts basically. I'm not even kidding around. I think that our level of like advancement would be so like drastically reduced. Again, look at the hunter-gatherers in Africa. They're pretty much, although they still depend on each other, they depend on the tribe to survive, but they still it's still like it's fascinating to think that like that their living standard of living is so astronomically low. Like all they can do is like hunt, and they have to eat like dirty food, dirty water. They don't have any sophisticated technology, they don't have any advanced like culture or civilization. Just hunting, gathering, huts and all that. It's kind of, honestly, it's very it's kind of like a little bit absurd to me as well to think about it. But you know, no escape. There's really is no escape from society, from civilization. I honestly think so. A lot of us, we try and like a lot of us, we're so delusional, especially if you're a young person. You probably think that you can like run away from civilization, society, you can make it on your own completely, which is kind of nonsense. The only way you can do that, man, the only way you could do that is if you turn into a hunter-gatherer or something like that. Is if you like reduce your standards of living, you become a hunter-gatherer or something like that. You basically scavenge. You look for what's available on the land and you scavenge. You become a scavenger. Do you want to live like that, just eating like dirty food and water, drinking dirty water? That's why I honestly, again, 100% think so, guys, that there is no escape from society. There is no escape from your 9-to-5 job. You need to work, guys. You have to stay inside of the civilization. You have to stay inside of society. If you try and venture out, you're gonna die. I do think so. I think that us human beings, especially now, modern human beings, us human beings in the modern day and age, I think that we're so dependent on society now, and I think that there really is no escape. Because once you like, if you try, like a lot of us, we underestimate how vital and important the contributions of other people are, especially regarding like living in a society. All these people, they do all the hard tasks, and we all like work hard together and stuff, and we all contribute in different ways, and that's what helps us all live better lives. Someone works in a farm, someone works in a factory, someone makes computer programs, someone designs circuit boards. Different people do different things, and they all contribute to the society and stuff, and we all get to live better lives because of this. I think so. Then and that's why I believe that there is no escaping from society. If you try and make it out on your own, if you try and move away from civilization, society, you become like some type of I don't know, there's like so many like types of films about this. I guess like something like I don't know, like you become like some type of bandit person. I don't know, someone that's like a renegade or whatever. You try and run away from society, whatever, and you try and become like more self-dependent, on your own. That is gonna actually, guys, that's probably gonna, your standard of living is gonna be reduced. You're not gonna be able to like live a more fulfilling, happy, pleasant life. A lot of us are so ignorant, man, especially on the YouTubes. There's so many people like I think that they think that they can become survivalists, that they can make it out on their own, they can run away from society and they can survive in the wild on their own. Guys, it's a lot harder than it looks, and your standard of living is going to be reduced. I know when I was especially a lot younger, I was actually watching a lot of like survival videos and all that type of stuff, man. I was watching a lot of survival YouTube videos and all that, bushcraft videos and stuff like that, how to survive in the wild, all that type of stuff, man. I've been watching it when I was like a lot younger and all that. The issue with that is that trying to make it survive on your own, the issue with it is you're not going to be able to do you can't like maintain a high standard of living if you merely rely on your own physical labor. I'm telling you 100%. We have to depend, a lot of us human beings, we do rely on other people's contributions to society in general. If you try and rely on your own self, you're probably not going to be able to like, again, maintain like some sort of high standard of living. Again, it's just a fact that we actually do depend on other people. That's why it's society and civilization. I think that's why it's such an important thing. It's kind of sad that a lot of us, we demonize it. We hate society and civilization and culture and all that type of stuff. We always want to like kind of like, a lot of us, we do like bash on it. We want to like become a little bit more rebellious. A lot of us, we kind of always like bash on, hate on civilization, society, and whatever you want to call it. but it's kind of, to me, it's nonsensical, because without civilization, society, we would just be living in mud huts, I'm telling you for sure. I think that's the only reason that we became more advanced and developed, is because we have like a civilization, a society, a culture. That's what really pushed us so far ahead of all these other animal creatures on this planet. So if you think that becoming like some type of survivalist, being on your own, that's gonna make you live a better, happier life, it's so delusional. That's what I used to believe when I was like a lot younger. I used to think that yeah, you could just like get away from our society, civilization, whatever, and you can make it out on your own. It's kind of nonsensical that you can get away from a society, culture, civilization. You can make it out on your own. It's so delusional. We do depend on other people's contributions. I 100% think so, guys. I think that trying to make it out on your own is just not going to happen. It's not possible at all. We 100% we do depend on other people's contributions. That's why, again, society is so important, because one person works in a farm, one person does all these other things, one person does blah 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 blah. We all contribute in different ways, and that's what makes everything better overall for the society and us individual human beings. If you try and escape away from the shackles of society, the cage of society, you try and make it out on your own, what's going to happen is that your standard of living is going to be so reduced. It's going to become more reduced and worse. You're not going to be able to maintain, because you can't do everything on your own. You can't rely on your own physical labor. There's only so many different things that you can do as one individual person. That's why, honestly, there's no escape. I think that us modern human beings, I think we very much depend on society, cultures, and civilization. There's no escaping away from society. I do think so. If you try and become like some type of renegade, you try and make it out on your own. You want to like run away from the burdens of society. You don't want to like deal with a 9-to-5 job or whatever, blah blah blah. You want to like kind of become a renegade, become like some type of survivalist. You want to like scavenge shitty food on the floor, become a scavenger looking through bushes for food and meat and whatever. I honestly think that's not gonna do you any favors, guys. I think that unless you want to reduce your standard of living, I don't know. There is no escape, guys. I do think so, that there is no fucking escape from society, from civilization. If you try to make it out on your own, if you try and escape away from society and civilization, you're probably just going to die, maybe, perhaps, or your standard of living is going to reduce astronomically. But some people would say, well, you don't need to like completely remove yourself from society, but you can still manage to try and live on your own, but you can still like benefit from you can still have like the same, you can still benefit from society while not being in a society. Actually, that's actually, maybe I'm being kind of like a little bit of a dumbass, a little bit, because I'm making it seem like it's like you have to like be inside of a society to reap the fruits and labor of the society in general, and the society not in general, but the society in question, blah blah blah. I'm kind of being a dumbass with my words now, but some people would say that you can still become a renegade and you can still like live outside of like society and civilization, but you can just come back in and get what you want and get back out. You can still benefit from society without being inside of a society. Maybe perhaps that might be true, but still. But I think especially when I was younger, I thought that you could completely remove yourself away from society, civilization. You can make it out on your own. You can become a survivalist, a renegade. But honestly, now I'm coming to the realization that it's impossible to make it out on your own, to live on your own, completely removed from society and civilization. Like, let's just say you're in like some wild part of Africa. Would you be able to maintain a high standard of living while being completely removed from civilization, society, especially like Western civilization society? Obviously, there's a bunch of different like countries and blah 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 blah. But honestly, I do think so, that especially as modern human beings, I think that we're very much now, we very much rely on society and civilization now. I don't think that we're ever going to be able to like revert back to like a hunter-gatherer phase completely. I think that a lot of us, we're way too accustomed to civilization and society now, and we very much don't want to like go backwards, basically become hunter-gatherers again. Because if you want to like become, I feel like that is like, it's so paradoxical, because we're a lot of us, we still have like the same bodies of our hunter-gatherer ancestors, but now we have a civilization and our biologies are changing now. It's all like so weird. Such a weird topic, though. No escape, not just regarding like civilization, society. I honestly don't think that there's like, I don't think that you can basically escape away from modernity as well. Like a lot of us, we want to go backwards in time. We want to do away with like all the modernity basically. A lot of us, we want to go backwards. We don't want to go forwards. And it's kind of a little bit, why would you want to go backwards? It's kind of dumb. You want to reduce your standard of living. You want to like get rid of human rights. Like a lot of people are so dumb. They are the traditionalist people. They want to go backwards. They don't want to progress forward. They want to like, they don't like modernity. They want to go backwards in time. What the fuck? But you can't do that. I think because we're way too accustomed now to like modernity and like comfort that our modern society brings. And that's why I think that I don't think it's ever possible for us to revert backwards in time and become hunter-gatherers again. I think a lot of us would probably just die off and get all these issues with our bodies. And now it's so fascinating though. Yeah, no escape. Honestly, I think that now us human beings, we're literally becoming like so like meshed with civilization, society. I think that we're literally like becoming like it's like almost like a symbiotic relationship now. But we very much now need civilization and society to survive and stay alive. I don't think it's like now that we can even like willingly of our own free will choose whether or not we want to be in a society or civilization, or whether or not we want to be on our own. I think it's like now we're very much like, it's like almost like a symbiotic relationship now. I don't think there's any type of like, if like us become human, like if you want to be a renegade, completely remove yourself from society and civilization, become like a survivalist picking berries and fruit off the land. I think you could try doing that. I know there was like some guy called Ted Kaczynski, whatever his name was. I'm gonna have to double check on that. There's this like guy, do you remember the Unabomber or something similar? He believed that you could like we need to like go backwards in time. We need to become hunter-gatherers again, because that's what's going to make us more happy and fulfilled. He had that mindset and mentality that civilization is actually going to cause us a lot of misery and blah 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 blah. And so we need to become hunter-gatherers again. He was like a Unabomber. Was it Ted Kaczynski? I think so. I'm not really too sure on that name. Ted Kaczynski is like a weird guy, and he wrote like some type of manifesto, blah 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 blah. And he was like a Unabomber. It's kind of a very insane guy. I don't even think I should really be talking about him in this video, because I don't want this video to get flagged and banned. But really, there is no escape, guys. I don't think that we're ever going to be able to like go backwards in time, become hunter-gatherers again. Some people think that's like the way to go, that if you want us human beings, in terms of like happiness and fulfillment, we need to become hunter-gatherers again, kill animals, hunt on the land, be on the land. That's so nonsensical and stupid to me, guys. I think that civilization is, unless you want to like reduce your standards of living, if you don't care about your having a high standard of living, because I care about that, but some people might not care about that. They might just care about the fulfillment of like being a hunter-gatherer and killing animals. It's kind of dumb to me, man. It's so bizarre to me. But I do think that there's literally no escaping from society. I think there's no escape from society, guys. Civilization, trying to become a renegade, trying to completely remove yourself away from civilization, society. I know that's what what's his name? Ted Kaczynski. No, that you remember that Unabomber guy? He wrote some manifesto. I was freaking reading it a couple of years ago, man. I forgot his name off the top of my head. But you know, that guy thought that civilization, society is actually the reason that we're so miserable, and he thought that we need to become hunter-gatherers again. It's so like nonsensical to me, man. Because if you think about it so carefully, well, what's it actually mean to like remove yourself from society and civilization? That means that we're just going to be living in huts, pooping in dung holes, hunting animals like wild animals that are filled with parasites and getting worms and all that. Do you want to live like that? I don't know. Maybe perhaps you might want to live like that. I don't know. But no escape, guys. I honestly think in order for us human beings to have like a high standard of living, to be like fully like prosperous, I think that we do need to like be inside of a civilization, a society. I don't think there's any type of escape. I don't think that you can become like a renegade, a survivalist, make it out on your own in the wild, and maintain a high standard of living at the same time. Unless you don't care about the standard of living, you can decide you don't care about like having like technology and whatever. Then fair enough. Maybe perhaps you can like maybe this video is like kind of nonsensical for you then, because you don't care. You can just make it out on your own in the wild. But honestly, I do think that we're in a symbiotic relationship now with our civilization. With our society. It's like we depend on society and civilization now to maintain a high standard of living. Making it out on your own, it's like very, 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 it's like nearly impossible now, because we're so like reliant on civilization now and society. But Ted Kaczynski, that manifesto that he made, I remember reading it quite a while ago. He was basically he was talking about how like it's actually society and civilization that's like the reason that we're becoming more depressed and unhinged and unhappy is because of like the fact that we have all this technology, and he predicted that the technology is going to become kind of like our own undoing and all that type of stuff. It's all kind of like it's a very interesting thing. He thought that is actually we shouldn't be like heading towards like our civilization society. He said that he thought that we need to like go backwards, that we need to like return back to becoming hunter-gatherers and whatever. Ted Kaczynski was such an interesting character. He had like such an interesting outlook on life, his philosophy and whatever and stuff like that. It's very interesting. And what he believed in and stuff like that. He thought that regarding like civilization, society, he thought that these things are actually gonna make everything a lot worse for us. And he thought that in order for us to become more happy and content and complete, we need to actually go backwards in time. Damn, I can't believe I literally forgot about that guy. But when I was making this video now, his name just popped up in my head again. So that's kind of like that's so fascinating and interesting. I just quickly remembered the guy. I've forgotten for such a long time now. Ted Kaczynski, I think that's his name, the Unabomber. I don't want to really bring him up too much in this video. This video might get freaking flagged if I mention him too much. But you know, that guy is pretty much on point regarding, is he on point? Actually, no, I disagree. But some people thought that he was like very wise, but I don't honestly, like, do you want to revert back to like a hunter-gatherer, that lifestyle? There is no escaping from modernity, from civilization, from society. I think that we're forever now in a symbiotic relationship with society, with civilization, with modernity. I don't think that it's possible at all now to go backwards in time to become hunter-gatherers again. I think a lot of us, we would simply perish in the wild. I do think so. I think that a lot of us now, we depend on society and civilization now. But Ted Kaczynski, he was such an interesting guy. He was a Unabomber guy, and he wrote that manifesto, and he thought that actually we need to go backwards. We need to turn away and go backwards, because, you know, like, civilization's going to be our undoing. We need to become hunter-gatherers again. That's what's going to make us super happy. Maybe he didn't think like that. Maybe I'm like misconstruing and like putting words in his mouth. Because I remember reading something from him quite a while ago. I just remembered him when I was making this video right now. It's so fascinating. Very, very fascinating indeed, that guy. Ted Kaczynski. Probably should zoom out a little bit. Don't be too close to my face. I always make the I don't know. Should I make the videos like close to my face, or do you guys prefer it being zoomed out? Let me know in the comments of the video if you prefer being close up, or do you want to be like a little bit more further back. But anyway, that guy, no escaping. There is literally no escape from civilization, from society, from modernity. We're very much fully like now dependent on society. If you want to be a renegade, a survivalist, it's like very, very difficult, especially if you want to like run away somewhere wild. How are you going to maintain a high standard of living? You're probably going to die of like disease and infection. It's funny, we're so like dependent on civilization and society now. It's so like, it's a little bit disheartening. It's a tiny little bit disheartening, but it's kind of like, it's just like, that's just how it is, that we're dependent on civilization, society. It's a little bit disheartening, but it's kind of like just what it is, that we now have to like fully like if you try and be a renegade, a survivalist, you don't need to like rely on like society. If you try and remove yourself from society and civilization, probably your standard of living is going to go super low, downwards. Probably going to be getting all these issues coming up, like problems with your health, and you're not going to be able to fix those problems because you're not in a society. You don't have like doctors in the wild, so you're gonna have to like just make it out and try your hardest to stay alive in the wild. I don't know, but still, no escape, guys. There's no escape from civilization, from society. We very much depend on civilization and society now. There's absolutely no way we can make it out on our own. It's like quite literally, it's such a conundrum though. Yeah, but still, to me, there's like no value in becoming a hunter-gatherer. Some people think that, I know Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, I don't want to mention him too much, but because the video's going to get flagged and taken down, but you know, the guy, he thought that, his outlook on life was that actually it's like technology, civilization, modernity, that's going to ruin us, and we need to go backwards, and we need to become hunter-gatherers again. He had that kind of outlook. I don't know where he got that from. His writings were very interesting. Off the top of my head, I can't really remember. He wrote some type of piece of work. it was called, I know it's such a while ago now. The Unabomber was such a fascinating guy. So interesting. Yeah, Ted Kaczynski, I think so his name was. Might be something wrong. Oh man, I don't want to get too much into this right now, but you know, no escape from society, from civilization. We very much now are in a symbiotic relationship with civilization, with society, with modernity. If you try and be a renegade, you want to run around in the wild, make it out on your own, your standard of living is going to go down. You're probably going to be suffering from so many different sorts of issues with your body and health. We very much depend on civilization and society now. It's kind of like just how it is. You can't really get away from it. Civilization, society, man, that's what we really depend on now. And it's not even a symbiotic relationship now. It's like pretty much we really require like a society in order to like maintain ourselves and our health and like our high standards of living. But anyway, but no escape. Again, when I was a lot younger, I thought that you can run away from society, civilization. You can just live in the wild, pick berries and fruits, eat insects and dung, poop in like dung holes, become a survivalist. Actually, was when I was like a lot younger as a teenager, I thought that maybe that might be like the path I might go down in life. But now I'm realizing it's kind of very nonsensical, because you're gonna like really, you want to be like living in such a horrendous way, like barely staying alive in the wild. It's like very dumb, man. It's actually very stupid. You really want to be living in like such a horrendous way. Being in the wild, barely staying alive in the wild, is kind of not really smart. Obviously now I kind of understand that. That's not the smartest move to like go backwards and like that and become a hunter-gatherer and start a survivalist, stay in the wild. It's not really wise to do that. But when I was like a lot younger, I actually thought that 100%. I thought that you could just like make it out on your own. You could just become like a survivalist, and you can pick berries and become like scavenge the ground for food, and you don't really even need to like have a job and whatever and stuff like that. I thought that when I was like a lot younger, that you can just make it out on your own. You don't need a job. You don't need to be in a society or a culture or whatever. It's kind of, now I'm realizing it's kind of like stupid. You can't make it out on your own. It's kind of like very dumb. You very much require being living in a society, a civilization. I don't think that you can like make it out on your own, become some renegade character, a survivalist, do things on your own, scavenge the ground for food and water and whatever you want to call it. It's not going to happen, guys. I think that we very much depend on civilization and society now. But when I was a lot younger, I always thought that, I thought, especially when I was like a younger teenager, I was looking at bushcraft videos and etc. and stuff like that. I thought that you can completely remove yourself from society, civilization, and make it out on your own. You can live off the land basically and hunt animals, and that you can sustain yourself by doing that. But it's still, now I'm realizing that it's not even, you wouldn't even be able to sustain yourself, because wild animals, they're so few in numbers now. It just wouldn't be sustainable. We wouldn't, your standard of living would be so like low. You wouldn't be able, you'll be so malnourished, because you wouldn't be able to like find adequate amounts of food. Because in the wild, the only thing that there's like no, like fruits, vegetables, grain, cereal, all that type of stuff that we now enjoy eating, all of that stuff doesn't exist in the wild. That's all these sorts of things that they're products of our modern civilization. In the wild, that's the truck. In the wild, man, you probably, in the wild, there's no like fruits, whatever you want to call it. It's just like all you'll be able to pick on would be like wild animals. That's the only thing you'd have to munch on, and that's not even going to be able to keep you alive, because you'll be having parasites along with that. Unless even if you cook the food, like getting rid of the worms and whatever, that's going to be such a pain. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into that. But when I was like a lot younger, honestly, guys, I thought that becoming a survivalist, a renegade like character, that it's possible and feasible that you can remove yourself from civilization, society. You can make it out on your own and live off the land, be like a wild character. But now I'm realizing, guys, that's like very nonsensical. I think that we do very much depend on society and civilization to maintain a high standard of living. I think that if you try and become a renegade, a survivalist, it's not gonna go well for you in the end. I think that you're probably gonna have like malnutrition. You're gonna suffer from malnutrition, all these other health problems. So it's such a fascinating topic, though. Really like sheds a lot of light on our on us human beings and who we are as an animal species. Like, I think, because when I was a lot younger, especially when I was like a younger teenager, I thought that you could just completely go into the wild, try and survive in the wild and pick pick berries, animals, whatever. You can just like, you can speak like a freaking hunter-gatherer in the wild. I thought that, but now I'm realizing that's actually very much nonsensically stupid, because we very much depend on civilization and society and stuff. And I think that now, especially now, us modern human beings, we're so like dependent on our modern civilization society. I think that there's literally just no going back. I think the only way we can go backwards is if there's some sort of major cataclysm, and then even if that's going to happen, I think that we're just going to rebuild society anyway. So I think that's like, there's no going back at all. I think we're way too accustomed to like culture and civilization now. There's literally no escape from society, from civilization. I think in the future, like, yeah, everything's going to be heavily regulated by some type of like totalitarian government. I think so, 100%. So even though that's a little bit conspiracy theory, I think that's what's going to happen though. I think in general, you know, as the entire world becomes more like accustomed to civilization, society, as like hunter-gatherers start to become extinct, and there's pretty much only like civilized people now around the world. What's going to happen is that I think that there's going to become like some type of advanced government, and everything's going to be so heavily regulated. I remember like when I used to watch something called Spider-Man Unlimited. It's like a weird it's like that was like a badass cartoon of Spider-Man, when it's like a futuristic version of Spider-Man. He goes into a parallel world, and there's like all these like cyborgs controlling everything. It's such a fascinating thing. It's like such a fascinating topic, cartoon series show. I don't want to get too much into that though. But I don't think there's any type of real escape. Like no escape from society, modernity, civilization, and whatever you want to call it. I think all of us, we want to go backwards in time, but I don't think that's possible at all. I think that you can only go forward. We can only like become more and more reliant on our civilization, society. Now I don't think there's any way that we can actually go backwards now. It's kind of like very sad. Some of us want to go backwards in time, which is kind of stupid a little bit. It's so interesting though, guys. When I was a lot younger as a teenager, I thought that you could just become like a renegade, a survivalist. You can pick things off the land, and you can survive and you can try and stay alive by eating wild animals and becoming like a hunter-gatherer like character, a renegade, a that I thought that was like feasible. But now I'm actually coming to the strong realization that if you had tried doing that, your standard of living would be so like reduced drastically. You would not, it's so absurd. It would become so absurd if you tried to like become a renegade like character completely. I wonder if anyone, I mean certainly some people probably have tried it. Certainly there's probably some people now that did it, that they can live completely on their own in the wild. I don't think that's possible at all though. Trying to like, so I know actually maybe perhaps it is possible. I know that there's like certain people, they just completely like live in the wild and whatever and stuff like that. Becoming like a renegade, a survivalist and whatever, that's like very, very, that will be like very tricky to do indeed. Be very, very tricky to do that. But I know some people probably have done that already. But anyway, back to the topic of this video, right? No escape from civilization, society. I think that we do actually very much depend on civilization, on society now. I don't think there's any way you can get away from like modernity now and try and escape civilization, society, whatever you want to call it. We very much depend on it now. I think there's like no way we can escape. Damn, man, you hear the cracks, man. Fucking hell. A little squirrel. Oh fuck, man, I don't want to fall down the hill. It always reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't want to get too much into that. No escape from modernity. There's no escape from civilization, society, guys. When I was a lot younger, I thought that you could become a survivalist, and I was reading about Ted Kaczynski, like, you know, the Unabomber manifesto or whatever. I don't believe in it, guys. I think that we very much require civilization, society now. We very much depend on it. I think there's literally just no escape. I don't think that you can possibly, in a practical way, completely remove yourself from society and civilization and try and make it out on your own in the wild and actually thrive. I think that you're going to live in such a horrendous way if you try and completely remove yourself from civilization, society. I think that we very much are completely like reliant on our modern society and civilization and culture now, but it's so fascinating, guys. Ugh. It's like a worm on the ground. To show you it, it's like a worm. I don't want to show you that. Worms, I fucking hate worms. I fucking hate worms, man. Fucking hell, man. No escape. I honestly don't think that there's gonna be like any type of escape from civilization, society, modernity. We very much depend on civilization, society now. Very, very much depend on civilization, society. I don't think that you can try and make it out in the wild on your own and become like a renegade. It's like, I don't think it's like practical or possible at all or feasible in a sustainable way. I think it's like very, very, just isn't possible or practical now. I think that we very much depend on our civilization, society. Civilization, society now, we very much depend on it. There's just no escape, guys. There's no escape. You can't like make it out on your own now. There's no escape, guys. That's what I'm basically, the whole point of this video is I'm trying to tell you that there's literally we cannot escape from civilization, society now. And I think that in the future, as everything becomes more industrialized, more advanced regarding our technology and whatever you want to call it, our society is just gonna, everything that we're gonna have like a totalitarian government. I think we're just gonna become more enslaved by our society and culture. But I just think that's like impossible to avoid. I think that we cannot go backwards now. Yeah, Ted, this actually just really, it really gives me like flashbacks of like I'm reading about the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, his like piece of like work in literature. Damn, it gives me like sort of like flashbacks, man. Fucking hell, freaking hell. Reading like the Ted Kaczynski, his like literature and his work, which is so very interesting and important to read about and to learn about. It's very, very fascinating, guys. It's so interesting as well. Ugh, fucking hell, man. Fucking worm. Man. Ugh. That is fucking gross, man. Where is it? Oh, fucking shit. That's fucking, I hate worms, man. I wish all worms were wiped out. I always hated worms, specifically tapeworms, bugs and insects like that, man. Also, that's something that, you know, in the wild, that's what you would have to like deal with all the time. Worms and insects trying to munch on you. But guys, really, there is no escape from society, from civilization, from culture. If you try and make it out on your own in the wild, you're probably just going to get picked off by predators or disease. We're very much dependent on civilization, society and modernity now, and there's no going backwards. Ted Kaczynski, that just gives me flashbacks of reading his like manifesto, whatever. Hopefully I'm actually pronouncing his name properly in this video. Maybe I might be like a dumb fuck. I'm talking about someone completely else. Oh man, but anyway, you know, no escaping from society, civilization. We're very much dependent on it now. There's no going back. And that's kind of like very, it could be kind of like, some people might have the conception that this is actually kind of like a bad thing, that we're becoming so like reliant on a civilization, society, that we cannot even become hunter-gatherers again. In my opinion, it's just like a next step in our stage in our evolution. I think that literally we cannot be going backwards, guys. We can only be marching on and on forwards towards advancement. I think that civilization pretty much has helped us human beings immensely and lifted us out of darkness and misery, because our hunter-gatherer ancestors, they were pretty much just like so miserable and always like confused and like was hurt and abused by Mother Nature. They were like picked off by predators. They were abused. They had worms and parasites and all these issues. And with the advancement of civilization and society and culture, now we are so much more prosperous, and we don't have to worry about all these like issues that our ancient ancestors had to deal with. But so fascinating, man. Fuck it. Oh, it's like worms and all that shit. Yo, bro, worms, man. Fucking so ugly, man. Bro, they're fucking everywhere on the ground. But anyway, I think there's just no escape from civilization, society, modernity. There's just no escape, guys. You can't escape away and become a renegade survivalist. You're not going to thrive on your own. It's impossible. That's about it.